Hi, this is Bianca Williams joining you, therapist, coach, wife, and mom. And today I want to talk to you about another self growth tip. That tip is going to be being able to break cycles. And I want to talk to you about it from three different perspectives because they all are equally important and why it's important for us to break cycles. So let's get into it. One of the most important reasons for us to break cycles, and first, before I get into that, let me just take a step back and just talk about what breaking cycles is for a second. Breaking cycles is essentially taking an active approach in creating a future that can be better than the past, better than your past, better than the greater past of your family or your culture. And so being active in creating a better future. And so one of the ways that I want to talk about that first is thinking about the past, essentially. So our our ancestors, our predecessors, the people that came before us have been able to make sacrifices that allow us to be in a position that we are now. And so, if you think about it, they have already started to break cycles. There were things that they had to learn, there were things they had to build, there were things they had to stop so that we can have the opportunities that we have, so that you can live the life that you're living, so that you can be in a place that is better than the place that they were in. And so, it's an honor to be able to continue breaking cycles because not only did they pave the way for us to be able to walk in the space that we are in, but we realized that maybe that space it had some opportunity to continue to evolve, continue to grow. And so we have a responsibility essentially to contribute to increasing that success in some way. So looking at our past and their sacrifices as an opportunity to say, how can I build on that? How can I allow that to grow even more? But also, there's things that's from our past that maybe were not addressed or has grown since then. We've learned more. There's been evolution in how we approach certain things. Sometimes I think of things such as parenting. You know, the way I was parented when I was a child is a little different than I parent my children. That was a cycle that I was able to break. Or you think of education, starting businesses, things that allow you to tap into generational wealth or evolving in your access to careers that are fulfilling and allow you to find a sense of purpose. Sometimes that's breaking a cycle because you're actually doing something that is leveling you up, leveling your family up, creating a new baseline for the future generation. So, yes, the past is one way to think about breaking the cycle. The next way to think about breaking the cycle is looking at who you are today. So, if I thought about who I am today, there are things I'm learning about myself. There are things that are important to me. And maybe these were not things that I saw as a child or were taught to me. And so, breaking the cycle for me today is the love that I pour into myself, the opportunities that I create for myself. So breaking the cycle is important to self-growth just as much as it's important to picking up from the things that happened in the past. Because we want to invest in who we are so that we can show up at our best for our future opportunities, our obligations, things that are important to us, things that we're looking forward to. So definitely looking at the present, what you're doing, how you're treating yourself, how you're navigating life, all of those things are part of the cycle you're breaking. Maybe you moved out of the community you lived in and you are setting some aspirations to create a new cycle for yourself. You're giving yourself certain opportunities. You have enrolled into a gym. You know, you are nurturing who you are and who your family is. So that's the present way I would look into breaking cycles. And if you're following the trend, we've talked about the past, we've talked about the present. So the last part of breaking cycles that I want to talk about is the future. The future is an intentional focus on breaking cycles because you may not fully see what happens in the future, but you can contribute to what happens in the future. A lot of the biggest breakthroughs that's happened for us were not because people were doing this for themselves, but more so they were doing it for the next generations. They may not ever see the fruits of their labor, but they saw that this needs to happen so that other people don't have to feel or suffer in the ways that I did or people around me did. And so it's essentially an investment into the future that the people after you will live in, will be a part of. You're creating a further path, right? If you think of the generational or breaking cycles as a path that we're walking on and it's paved by people behind us, we're a part of continuing to pave that route. You get to a place where it's a dirt road and there's some future opportunities to pave that road a little bit further. And so the future breaking the cycles is you being able to start paving that road a little bit further so that now that can be built onto. Now that can be something that is a standard for the future generation. I hope that was helpful in thinking about breaking cycles and the importance of that and the importance of being active in that, because it is not something that you want to ignore. You have been able to benefit from it, and in some way you can contribute to it. One thing about breaking cycles, I don't want you to feel guilty about it. I don't want you to feel like if I'm not doing all of these things, then I'm not doing enough. If you could just think of one or two things that are important to you, that's close to your heart, on something you want to see change or something you want to see look differently, then there you go. You can commit to breaking the cycle in that way. So it's not about changing the world in a big, giant way or making this huge impact. I mean, great if you do, but you don't have to look at breaking cycles in that way. Everybody's path is not going to be the same. Everybody's goals are not going to be the same. So you can contribute to what you are connected to, what's important to you. It's just being able to say, hey, this is something I identify with needs to change, or I would like to see, some growth in this area. So again, I hope understanding or talking about breaking cycles today was helpful. This is Bianca Williams, your therapist, coach, wife and mom, presenting some self-growth tips to you today. Stay tuned, continue to listen to me, subscribe to me, and I will continue to drop some self-growth tips.